All right, and it is Friday, August 18th at 8:11 a.m. in Maui, Hawaii, and we are currently in the second line of the Sun in Gate 22, Sun in Gate 29, the Abysmal, Perseverance, and the Earth in Gate 30, the Clinging Fire and Feelings. And so we are here in line 2. Everything starts with the Sun. This is assessment. Persistence tempered by caution, the power of sustainment as a guiding light, saying yes, and the power to persevere. That's the exaltation. And in detriment, we have a tendency to overcautiousness when persistence is perceived as adding to rather than ending disharmony. Caution in saying yes when perseverance leads to disharmony. So we're talking about gate 29 in the sacral. We're talking about this full-bodied yes. We're talking about, a channel that ultimately provides us with the ability to succeed where others fail. Which that statement right there, I can't take credit for that because that is directly out of the keynote infographic that Prana put up in the Rogue channel. That channel 2946 is the channel of discovery, and it's again a design succeeding where others fail. And 29 provides us with this full body sacral yes, right? This full like and it's how you say, organized by 46, which is the pairing gate up in the G. And so one thing that I always do with these transits, and you get 6 opportunities to do this with each of the transits, as I go and I look and I ask myself, okay, do I have this gate active? So like I can go to my app, hit transits, and I look, and I do not have 46 active, nor do I have 29 active. And the reason that's relevant is because, especially as a reflector, but this is relevant for anybody with open centers, when the transits or when somebody else hooks you up, so to speak, it activates a channel that is otherwise open, otherwise undefined. And know that while that center is active, or that gate is bridged, it is not necessarily giving you access to using that center for yourself, right? Because it doesn't change who you are. It just adds a layer of clothing, a layer of experience to who you are. And ultimately the grand mission is to discern and to resist the conditioning that is constantly present, because we've already been conditioned, and we're conditioned enough in many ways. And so, for instance, if you have 29 in your natal chart, now 29 is on, you may not necessarily feel a difference. If you feel the 46 turn on, which is the pairing gate to 29, that would bridge the gap. And if you have an open sacral and an open G, that would define the G center and the sacral for you. But again, it may give you the energy to coordinate. It may give you the access to these pieces, but to make lasting decisions, to make impactful decisions that would alter your life would be a mistake, because as these transits go into activation and define things in your gate, they also very quickly evaporate, and thus the energy with it. So again, life with human design is about experimenting and saying, how can I rely on what's consistent for me, as opposed to working under the conditions of the rest of the world, or what the conditions of the weather is a much more, how you say, reliable. And that's very how you say, masculine way of looking at human design. The feminine way would be to look at it the opposite way, or in the sense of, oh wow, okay, this is active now, I'm going to use this while it's here before it goes away. The masculine way would be to, I'm going to use that as discernment and not use that and build the skill that is naturally inherent. And so again, with the transits and with all spirituality comes this yes and no, up and down, black and white. And ultimately, again, it's up to you to discern which approach is going to be most fruitful for you. And as always, we are human beings, and so there is no escaping the third line, the martyr experience, bumping into things and trial by fire. Um, whether you're a sixth line or a third line, it does not matter. You cannot escape that. That is something we all go through, especially within the first 30 years of our life. So gate 29, again, 29.2, assessment, persistence tempered by caution. So being aware of the full body yes today, being aware of where the full body yes leads to harmony and where it leads to disharmony. And ultimately, again, life is not about balance. Nothing is in perfect balance. If that were so, life would probably be very boring. The planet would go in a perfect circle around the sun, which it does not, and clocks and the transits would all transit at the same time, and everything would just be like perfectly aligned. And they are, but just in a grander way, something that our mind can't necessarily comprehend. So we're looking at the human experience in a way. This is what I've come to learn about human design, is that we're looking at it through the eyes of God. We're looking at it through the eyes of a creator, in the sense that there's a microscope and also a macroscope, the ability to zoom in very, very tight and see things, and also the ability to zoom out very, very wide and also see things. But we mustn't let that interfere too much with our experience, which is sometimes sadness, sometimes joy. And the tendency to want to escape sadness is high. The homogenized energy to want to move quickly through sadness and move swiftly through sadness, I've noticed, especially with being here on Maui and fires and everything. No one wants to sit in the sadness of it, but sometimes that's the only way through. Sometimes the only way through is to sit with the sadness, and similarly enough with the happiness, right? And I'm guilty of this, of, oh yeah, okay, cool, I'm happy. When is this going to end? Because I don't want to be delusional, right? I don't want to be too happy, rather than actually just accepting, oh, okay, I feel good, because everything is transitory. These transits, our lives, everything is transitory. So now into what I like to call the cup of the transits. The sun provides the tea, and the earth provides us with the cup. So this is how we harmonize that energy of assessment, that sacral that persistence tempered by caution. We balance it, or we harmonize it, with pragmatism, which is the line 2 of gate 30, and it's the balance between extremes. It's the productive application of energy without waste, not wasting energy on feeling. And then in the detriment, we have over aggressiveness that chafes against limitations, which is the feelings that demand energy. And that was exactly what I was just speaking about, kind of unconsciously, is this energy to force or extend feelings, or suppress feelings beyond their natural course, right? Like, again, sadness. So many people are trying to rush through sadness. Not necessarily me, although it has happened in the fore. I've been borderline, like, how you say, trying to extend sadness, because I know that I have suppressed it in the past. And then there's people attempting to extend happiness and extend joy far beyond its years. This whole, like, biohacking movement that I actually partake in quite a bit. I got my supplements, I practice biomechanics, but there's dudes out here that are dedicating their entire lives in an attempt to reverse the aging process. And I'm like, man, haven't you seen Wolverine? Like, see how sad that is, that he lives forever? That's very sad. But anyway, back to the emotion. This is about energy, because the clinging fire, the feelings, gate 30 in the solar plexus, it's about the being recognized, and the freedom of that recognition brings, as a limitation, as an illusion, and ultimately an accepted state. So Dragon says, not sad if you have more people living that long. True. That's true. We're all immortals, and that's awesome. Which at some point, maybe, if we prepare a good enough world for the rave children, they'll teach us the secret to our mortality or immortality. And it's like, if you did have that secret, and you could press a button and you would never die. There's almost a fear in me, not to project this on anyone else, but there's a fear in me of, like, well, am I ever going to figure out what happens next? Right? Because this realm is dictated by certain laws, and whatever happens next, is going to be. I'm not really concerning myself with that so much as I am asking myself to be present with this. And so, with pragmatism, the balance between extremes, you know, emotions can be incredibly extreme. Um, and it's important to allow those extremes to happen but not force them into extremes, which is something that kind of is bringing up a biomechanic exercise. We have a move that we do in which we're swinging the arm from left to right, and we're swinging it across the body, and the idea is to download gravity into the tissues so that we can use gravity as opposed to fighting against gravity, or as opposed to not even considering gravity at all. And is this one of these concepts that I talk to often, is not to use your muscles to proceed with that movement, but to actually allow gravity to do as much of that work as you can allow it, and it creates this kind of relaxed meditation. And at some point, I don't know if the new video I posted in Hunter is has this move in it, but there will be some moves or move sets or workouts that do have that. We call it the arm line, that have exercises regarding the arm line. And yeah, it's again, no wasting of energy. We're using just enough energy necessary to recognize the feelings. We're using just enough energy that's necessary um to move the arm and keep the arm in momentum. And we're kind of like creating one of those perpetual energy loops, that renewable energy, a lot of renewable energy technology is based off of this concept of using, the forces of nature, which are already present and abundant to generate energy for us. And so, again, clinging fire, pragmatism, not wasting energy on feelings, and the detriment would be feelings which demand energy, which is the sense of, like, with emotional waves, there's an energy there dedicated towards feeling. And if you don't use that energy up, then it comes out sideways on people in even less convenient times, usually, than it initially comes up. And so when the energy is up, use the energy. And when the energy is down, allow yourself to be used by this energy, and understand that there's nowhere to get to with the emotions. When you're feeling something, feel it. But it's not like, oh, dang, I only got halfway through that emotion and now there's no more energy. And so I'm going to try and stir some energy up, or I can't wait for the next time that I'm going to have energy so that I can root out this emotion. The ego and the negative feelings are not the enemy ultimately. It's that part of us that thinks our experience is somehow invalid because it's not the same as somebody else's. So, wow. Out looking outside. Dragon says, yeah, does immortality disconnect you from source since you are outside nature? I would say there's definitely some arguments that would say that. Personally, I feel like, if you look at beings that are immortal, there's always this, like, envy of humans, right? The vampires, they look at humans and they see themselves as monsters because they have to take that life. That's one example. Gods walking among humans, responsibility to their elements or their realms, and there's an envy that the immortal have of the mortal, simply because of this concept of gate 30 and the clinging fire. Is this idea that, what makes life so valuable and what makes this life such a gift is that one day it is going to end. And so, oh, what's up, Luke? Just like our friendship, one day, I knew it. I knew one day me and Luke were going to be separated, and we'd have to stand on our own and record our own transits and things like that. And that's what made being together so beautiful, was just knowing that, at some point we're not going to be together. And I've been talking about this with my partner as well. She's been having some things come up around, just, oh, I've been so enraptured by the experience of being a mother. And for any moms out there, I'd love to hear if you got feedback on this. Any advice would be wonderful. I'll probably post about it in the parents channel as well. But when the honeymoon phase of being a mother is over. And for us, it's kind of occurring at the 9 month mark. Um, when the all consuming rapture of, oh my God, she's adorable, that kind of subsides, and there's this vacuum of, oh, but what about me? What about all the things that I wanted to do before becoming a mom? What about the things I want to do now, but I can't do because I am a mother and I have a responsibility? Um, that comes up. And I'm looking at gate 30, and I'm looking at the right now, again, not wasting energy on feelings, and I'm watching her feeling like, oh, something is wrong, I'm thinking too much. And I know I'm doing my best to just invite her into feeling, invite her into tears, but I'm also not um forcing her, obviously, to shed tears, um because this is how it goes. Angel says, I've seen this shift harder when we don't have our rites of passage through each phase correctly. So that's exactly it, or at least a piece of it. Emerald is someone, she's a splenic root projector, 5-1, and she is definitely a lone wolfer in a lot of ways, in the sense that she likes her hermit time. She likes to be alone. She likes to do the things that are important to her. She can't necessarily take on too much energy. And I'm realizing, with the lack of a solar plexus, and it's similar with myself, there's not really a lot of energy to process emotion. And so when the emotion is there and the mind is strong, mind very easily overpowers the lack of emotional definition. Um, and having to unlearn that is a very big challenge for both of us. And again, it's we're not necessarily trying to get somewhere so much as we're just trying to love and accept and learn from these experiences. So Angel says, it's one of the hardest things for me, lack of space, especially unschooling. Yeah, big time, the conditioning, right? The things that we've learned in ways of being, and not only the things that we've learned, but also the experiments in the past that have worked for us, but maybe are not relevant now, and don't necessarily work now. And that's the beautiful burden of human design, is that there's all this information about how we're supposed to be, and there's a lack of experiments that can be cataloged. And one thing that I've been working on, that I'm starting to get more clarity on, is this Discord. I don't want to have a blog where I tell everybody what gate 30 is and all this blah blah blah. Like, that's not necessarily me. My solution to that um, kind of cringy energy of, like, let me teach you something, is this Discord. And I'm about to open up the education forums in a little bit here, in an effort to start to crowdsource, or open source crowdsource, get experiments from the community of, like, gate 30. What are some exercises or experiments that you have, or yeah, experiments and experiences that you've had with this gate in transit, or with this gate in your subconscious, or with this gate in your Mars, because there's so many um, conductors of the experiment, right? We're not all experimenting from the same experience. We're experimenting from our own unique experience. And so, this Discord is coming together in such a beautiful way. And we just reached over 900 members, which is amazing. I'm super excited about that. And I'm also like, cool. I'm here for the handful dozen of people who have been engaging and inviting me and encouraging me. Yeah, Marco, take us deeper into the abyss. Take us deeper into the clinging fire. It's over 900 exactly. And it's exciting, because this is not my TikTok. This is not my social media. I don't feel like I'm out here having to show up as the teacher. In a lot of ways, I've been practicing stepping back and letting people like Prana and Ronan and some of the other members who are, skilled and versed in human design, to contribute their 2 cents, or, you know, many thousands of dollars worth of information and years of experience. And that's what I want. I wanted a place where I didn't have to be the one holding it all together. And as the reflector, I accept the responsibility with my incarnation cross, the cross of rulership, to be sitting at the middle of this thing on a throne, adorned in whatever way the ruler is adorned, and letting us know whether we're on track or whether we are, degrading and degenerating into into madness and delusion, which that's kind of fun too. So I'll let us have our fun, but ultimately, I really continue to pray and continue to pour energy into this Discord, because I see it being a way out for so many people that are going to learn about human design. It's a way out of the what we've seen so much of, which is buy my coaching program, buy this, buy that. I don't think human design was, you know, in its maturity. I don't think that's what human design has the most potential for humanity in that way. It does not seem that way, and just from this Discord, I'm recognizing that that's true, and maybe it's true for other people, but in my heart, I'm excited to have this community grow, and I am at some point going to be introducing a voluntary subscription model where if you like the Discord and you have the means, you can contribute some money to the moderators, to the development of this, to to the community. But I want that to be organic. It's not going to be forced on anybody. This is always going to be a free community for all people to be a part of. But for those that find value in it and wants to engage in reciprocity, which is something that I've found to be so incredibly satisfying, to engage in reciprocity and to really exercise and flex my abundance by, personally, for me, it looks like giving away 10% of my income every month. For the past 6 months, I've given away 10% of my income to people in need. This past month, it went to some of the people who were affected by the fires here in Maui. The month before that, it was an uncle of mine who had come on some hard times. And so, Dragon says, I'd totally subscribe. I've never felt more connected. Oh, that's awesome. Thanks, Dragon. I appreciate that. And that's the kind of energy that I want the subs to have. And ultimately, again, to show people that there is another route than the pay a bunch of money and you get a bunch of information and then you're left completely alone out to figure it out all on your own. There's enough room here on the server, tens of thousands and hundreds of thousands of people to bring their experience and bring their experiment and evolve together. And so with that said, I'm going to go ahead and maybe open it up for questions. I'm moving at a much slower pace. Yes, not unity, but harmony. We're already one. We're already in a union. The question is, harmonious union, or are we in a disharmonious union? And that's something that I ask myself quite often. And I got really word Nazi with myself a couple years ago. I met a dude named Kevin Walton, Source Radiance on Instagram, if you care to look him up. And he brought me this concept around unity consciousness versus polarity consciousness, and that we exist on both planes. However, the language that we use is very important. And one of the things that he brought to my attention was how often in the spiritual community people talk about balance, and balance is a unity consciousness term. In unity consciousness, where everything is one, everything is perpetually in balance. There's no balancing happening, because balancing would imply that there's a left and a right and a wrong, an up and a down. In unity consciousness, there is none of that. It's all one. Now, we also live in polarity consciousness. And if we don't have to fix unity consciousness, is what he's saying. What we have to pay attention to is polarity consciousness. And rather than seeking balance, we engage in the act of balancing. Rather than seeking balance, we look for harmony. And we see it in music all the time, where there's drops in music, right? a song that just has the same mood the entire very quick, as opposed to a song where it builds up and then it drops and then it goes hard and then it chills out and there's this nice little break and then it builds up again and then it drops. And again, that's mortality, right? That's being alive. That's being a human being. So, um, yeah, it's Kevin Walton. It's all glory to the teacher. I do my best to to give credit where credit's due because, after all, as a reflector, I can't claim anything as my own. This community is great because of y'all. My life is great because of the people around me, and part of my personal profile, it's not it's about ultimately being of service to others, and through that finding my own piece within the puzzle. Um, this is huge. This is huge for me to be at the center of this Discord, and taking credit for it. Yep, created this space and allowed it to become this. Thank you. And that's going to be my promise to you guys. My promise to myself is that I will continue to um, remain true to myself, and remain true to what I view is going to be the Mars efforts in spreading this virus, human design, this how you say, this freedom. It's like the Underground Railroad. I have a feeling, and I have a few friends who do make money off of selling coaching programs, and a handful of people now also that make money off of selling human design courses and reports. It's really funny. I'm like hereticking myself, where I'm like, yeah, buy a report, or you could just join my Discord and be part of the community. But within that, I feel like I've tailored my approach in a way where it's like reports are only $20. Super simple. You could get more information honestly on the Neutrino app for $40 a year. But I've tailored the reports for beginners, so that someone doesn't have to spend or feel overwhelmed by how much information is out there. And then in terms of my time and my readings, I charge 177. That's because my time is valuable, and that's going to continue to go up, because I can't get time back. And as much as I love doing those sessions, they fill me up quite a bit. Being called to other things, like this Discord, like being more with my family, like Life Tenders, which is a nonprofit organization that me and some of the brothers here out on Maui are organizing to kind of help with the reclamation of Hawaii. I was actually just informed last night that there are wildfires breaking out in Oahu. And we're at the point now where it's like they're not even hiding what they're doing, because the fire is an interesting element on Maui or in Hawaii, because it changes the coding for what can happen on the land. So if National Park catches fire, then after that fire, now they can build whatever they want on in the national park. And so, there's a conspiracy afoot. There's people that are conspiring, to turn Hawaii into this like smart city, which in my opinion is not the direction that Hawaii needs to go. And so we're starting something here called Life Tenders. That's going to be a nonprofit that is going to part of the vision is to move into the future, but not lose reverence of the seasons and the elements and all the kinds. So I will definitely be sharing information in this Discord about how you can get involved, because it's not just for people on Maui, it's also for everyone ultimately who is experiencing similar pain. And so the Dragon saying the underhand is BS going on with these fires is piss. Yep, it's hurting everyone's heart, and the locals, and they're all suffering, and so much so that they're missing the opportunity to put things on paper and push a legal battle. And I actually last night I yesterday I went to sleep at like 6 p.m. and I woke up at 10 p.m. and I was like, shit, I guess I got I'm awake now, so let me do some work. And I was doing some work and found myself on this brother's page who he has a website called State Nationals Rock. And basically what he does is he teaches people how to exit the United States government corporate structure, because when we're born and we sign our birth certificate, basically we are incorporated as employees to the United States government as a corporation. And he teaches people how to get out of that. And because ultimately it's our ignorance that is being leveraged right now, and our grief that causes the ignorance. And so he's actually going to be coming out to Hawaii to how you say, get some Hawaiians some affidavits and get them notarized, and so that we can push against the powers that be using their own language and using their own system, so that way it can be legal, so that way we can liberate ourselves, not through the pew pew pew, like blow it all up revolution, but through actually becoming a better chess player than the people who invented the game. And so yeah, we're definitely not products. We're not employees. It's 5D chess 100%. And so we got what I perceive to be a master chess player coming in. Again, for me, what I'm realizing, part of my type, and for any reflectors that are listening or that are going to listen, I've always viewed myself as a space within what is happening. Less of the DJ or the dancers or the guy who arranges the party. I'm this reflector that it's in. And so in creating, we have a Discord server for Life Tenders, which is kind of under construction now, but again, I'll share it once things are ready with you guys if you want to participate in that capacity. Yellowknife Canada is on fire now too. Freak. Yeah, so it's a global activity. It's happening globally. These fires are making way for so and so the agenda of the in order to be executed. And even just saying that, there's such a conditioning, because I believe that's happening, but even saying it, I'm like, oh, I hope no one here thinks I'm a fucking conspiracy theorist. But also, if that's what you think, then no one's twisting your arm, forcing you to be here. So ultimately, I'm looking for the people who are awake, and so and I'm creating a safe space for them ultimately. And so yeah, this is wild, and we're definitely deep in this sacral and emotional transit. And so just to kind of bring it home, because I'm gonna unplug here for a second and go sit outside in nature. And because I'm one of the things that I'm learning is with the Discord and with creating the space, it's become even more important that I continue to connect with nature, and that I don't become a cyborg in an attempt to save everybody from the cyborgs. You know what I mean? And so I do things sometimes where you guys have seen it, where I'm like, oh, maybe I'll hang out with you guys for a little bit more after being on TikTok, and y'all are like, nah, go spend time with the family, go be outside. And so I'm counting on you guys to hold me accountable to remaining in my humanness and remaining in my spirit. And I can't tell you how grateful I am for that. So yeah, I don't want to end up like that guy, Luke. Although that'd be kind of tight, low key. You're not gonna lie, that'd be kind of tight. But again, how do we maintain our humanity while continuing to stay relevant in the new age? Is something that we're all experimenting and exploring with it. He says, "Nah, I'd rather have the Iron Man suit, because this guy's story is kind of yeah, fucked up." But anyway, I love you guys. Appreciate you, and we're going to be rolling out some new rules, just like more specific stuff around, like again, keeping this Discord nice and tight. I would say like a week ago I was kind of freaking out about some things happening on Discord, and people feeling any type of way about it, and so it inspired me to write some rules that were a little bit more intentional. And so super grateful for that opportunity. But this past week has just been awesome, just witnessing what's happening. It's all coming together in a beautiful way. And so as we continue to grow, I'm hoping that these new rules are going to, and they're the same rules basically, they're just more specific and have more clarity in them. But I'm hoping that these rules and these standards, ultimately is what I like to call them, are going to continue to create this connection and this all of this. So much gratitude for you guys and gals and elders and youngins, for all y'all humans out there, and also BMO. Thanks, BMO, for being here and recording everything and being our little helper. Really appreciate you. So with that, guys, continue to evolve, continue to awaken, and we'll catch you tomorrow morning for the next Tea in Transit. Aloha, 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 mahalo for all the prayers and blessings to all of you. Aloha.